from SilencerCo and SWR. Just wanted to kind of go over one of our new products today. This is the SilencerCo Saker 556 suppressor. It's got some pretty new ideas in it. We've been working real hard on this for the last couple of years, and it's finally ready to show people. One of the first things, when I talk about this can, I like to start at the back. The back of the can is very different from anything else. It has a modular end cap. What that means is we wanted to be able to come to market with a suppressor that could be used not only with our mounts, but with other mounts that were largely available in the industry. And we want to be able to change those back and forth, much like some of the other modular submachine gun designs and things that have been on the market before. So basically what we've got is we have a threaded back cap assembly that we can loosen and remove. And what you're left with is the actual suppressor body itself. And you can purchase this suppressor just like this. We're offering several different mounts. We call this the MAD mount. That stands for Multiple Accessory Attachment Device. And so we're going to be able to, with this suppressor, make it the most versatile suppressor in terms of post guns used and mounts used of anything on the market. So what we do is we can just screw one in, and let's start with the most basic. If you're a precision rifle guy, you want a squad designated marksman rifle, something along those lines, bolt gun for varmint hunting, whatever, you can simply screw in our direct thread attachment. It has a taper and a gas seal in there, so you screw it to shoulder, and then using a fairly common tool in the industry, just an AR-15 carbine stock wrench, you can come in on this lock ring or jam nut and tighten that up and lock it down. And now what you've in effect got is a direct thread 556 silencer with state-of-the-art internals. So if you're a fast attach or detach guy, we got something for you too. We designed our own proprietary mount called the Trifecta. And this is the Trifecta mount assembly. We'll put that in here real quick. Screw that in. You've got an outer ring, which will screw it down to shoulder, and then you've got a jam nut, just like on the other mount. So we'll screw that down. Same stock wrench. I like to keep this loose so you can get a good shoulder. Now we can tighten this the other way, just to get a good tight shoulder, and then we can tighten the jam nut, which will make that thing locked on and pretty well rock solid. And the way this works, law of demonstration, the way this works is we have a very unique shape right here. That interfaces with the Trifecta flash hider that's over here, right here. There are ears, we call them ears I guess, or lugs. Those are made to interface with the back of the flash, or with the back of the Trifecta mount. So what that means is that this will only go on the suppressor oriented one direction. So your baffle stack will always be oriented the same way on your gun every time, and that speaks to repeatability. So that's a good thing. That's one of the features of this. Now, going back to the flash hider, you'll notice that compared to some other flash hiders that are on the market, this doesn't have a lot of fancy teeth or anything like that. Flash hiders are very prone to damage. That's a part of the gun that people bang around and stuff through windows and everything else. And if you've got the majority of your attachment method in fine teeth on the mount, you can run into some problems if you damage it as far as getting your suppressor on and off. So we went with a fairly smooth, fairly sleek looking mount. It has a taper here. That taper again is a great gas seal, and that taper while the suppressor's on and being used will prevent carbon locking in here, making sure that you can always remove or attach the suppressor fairly easily. These prongs are also tapered here, so they're wider at the bottom than they are at the top. That allows room for carbon fouling in the suppressor, so it can be pulled on or off. Now one of the coolest features of the Trifecta RS, we call it the Trifecta RS. The RS stands for resonance suppression. The resonance suppression comes from the fact that a lot of people, rightly or wrongly, will complain about flash hider ping, and that's something we hear from our customers. They shoot a lot of 3-prong mounted flash hiders, and it rings. You'll hear a ringing, resonant tone after you shoot them, particularly if you shoot subsonic ammo. And it seems to be particularly bad in a 308 type platform. So when we were in R&D on this, our original flash hider design had 3 prongs that were the same length. When our chief engineer Jonathan went up and he fired it, and it rang, and he said, "It rings." And I said, "I know, they ring." And he said, "It's not going to ring anymore." And he took it down, and he did something that's so simple, I can't believe anyone hasn't thought of it before. He changed the length of the 3 prongs, and if you look at it, there are 3 different lengths. They're stepped. What that does is it eliminates the resonance. So it eliminates one more part of the sound signature. And if you look, if you take this off of the gun, it will ring in your hand. But if you put it on the gun, if it's screwed down on the gun, just give you an example here. It's dead. No ring. Now if you compare that to another industry-leading flash suppressor here that's 3-pronged, and you take that, that's ringing because it's like a tuning fork. They're all the same length. And that happens when you fire it as well. So the Trifecta and the RS part of Trifecta is the fact that it's resonance suppressed. And just by simply changing the length of those, we were able to largely eliminate that ring. So one more thing that this suppressor and system does that's less annoying than it used to be. So that's a pretty cool feature of the flash hider. Now as far as mounting this on here, once you've attached the Trifecta mount into the Saker and you've got it lined up and dropped on, you've got a really, really nice fast on and fast off attachment. Did you see that? That dropped in on that mount. So now all I have to do with one hand is tighten that down. There are 3 lugs in the bottom of that mount that close in around the bottom of the suppressor. Now, a lot of mounts on the market have a wobble. Fast attach mounts are famous for having a wobble. This is as strong a mount as you can see on the market. It's rock solid. There is no wobble. One hand on, one hand off, straight up and off. So that's a pretty cool feature. It's a great mount for that suppressor. So that's our mount. Now we realize our customers and a lot of our end users want to be able to use their product on more than just our mount. Perhaps they already have several mounts from other manufacturers. We wanted to be able to accommodate those guys too. Let's say you're a customer and you've got $1,000 worth of flash hiders from another manufacturer and you go buy another suppressor. You don't want to go spend another $1,000 on mounts. With the Saker, you don't have to because you can just buy the mount that will work with your flash hider. So we can remove this, we'll loosen the lock ring, and then loosen the shoulder nut. I tightened it on there really well. I might have to have Big Mike come over here and undo that. Law of demonstration. I need a... Well, I pulled that one. I'm going to put down your purse. Put down my purse. There we go. Put down my purse. It's too heavy, my boyfriend carries it. So you can remove that mount. And you can see on the mounts there's tapers. And those tapers again seal off the gas, keep it from fouling up the threads. Just since I'm such a manly man, I was able to cinch that down so much. Now, we can change that mount. This is one of the most popular flash hiders on the market, on the civilian side and the military side. 51 teeth here for the attachment method. We have the Saker Mad Mount for a 51 tooth flash hider. And it goes into the suppressor the same way. It screws in. You screw it to shoulder. Make sure the lock ring is loose. Shoulder. Tighten it up. Tighten the lock ring. And now, this is a SilencerCo and SWR patent. This is called active spring retention, ASR. This was featured in the SWR spec-core suppressors first. What it is it's a flat spring with teeth on either side and an oblong lock ring on the outside. So it has two settings, open and closed. So what we're going to do is we're going to now screw this onto our competitor's 51 tooth mount. We'll screw it down to shoulder, and then when I turn that lock ring a quarter turn, it's going to engage those teeth right there. So here's what you end up with. Screw it down to shoulder, snug it up, turn this lock ring, and that's really a positive lock. And now you actually have a mount that will work with 51 tooth flash hiders. It's actually got a lot more engagement surface, no wobble, and is stronger than the way it was originally intended to be used with the Saker. So pretty solid. So we can undo that, take it off. We also have another mount coming, and several other mounts coming in the near future for other popular suppressors. So that's just one feature, the modularity of the back cap. The next thing that's unique about the Saker is we have a new blast baffle technology called the Hoplon. Hoplon is ancient Greek for shield. And the Hoplon baffle that we put in here, a lot of R&D work went into this. A few years ago we took a trip to Bragg and we talked to a lot of guys, and they were telling us that cans were flashing. So even though the market as a whole tells people, a can's a great flash suppressor, and it is, they still flash. The guns, you can largely eliminate that through the use of a high quality flash hider, such as either one of those. The can, however, was still putting out a flash signature, be that because it was full auto, hot, belt-fed machine gun, or first round pop. So they were still exhibiting flash features. So we started to test flash hiders on the front of the suppressor. And that started out with just a 1/2x28 threaded stud, essentially, on the front of the silencer, and we started screwing flash hiders on it and testing results. We were getting a reduction in flash by adding a flash hider to it. So we went into the research and development, decided we could make an improvement there, and we started to test flash hiders that were geared more towards the type of velocities and gas pressures that you would encounter at the front of the suppressor, because it's a different dynamic. So what we ended up with was the interchangeable front cap. So you've got a flat front cap that comes standard with it. We can use the Osprey tool, you're familiar with that. The Osprey tool will go into that, and then that will actually thread out. Now, unlike some designs on the market, this is actually welded. It's not a thread-on front cap. We wanted to maintain military-grade strength in the suppressor, which is not commonly found in threaded designs. So this is a weld. We recessed it. We put some threads in right there. We put a couple tapers on it to seal out gas and debris and everything. And now we've got an interchangeable front cap suppressor that'll allow for the mounting of accessories. So the first accessory we made goes right along the lines of what I was telling you. We're looking for a way to reduce flash signature on the front. And so this is the Trifecta front cap flash hider. And it'll thread right onto that. Use your same tool. Just tighten it down. So now you have a flash suppressor that's optimized for front cap type pressures on the front of your suppressor, and that largely eliminates the flash on the front of the suppressor. This is all kind of somewhat decorative, maybe useful in some instances, I imagine, but the workhorse of that are those three prongs on that flash hider. And you can look for us for several different designs forthcoming, and several new accessories that we're going to be able to use on the front of this can. This has got us thinking in whole new directions as far as what we can put on the front of these suppressors. So that's a pretty cool feature. All those things added up, we think, make this the most innovative and the most unique suppressor on the market today.
Nice.